Hey, my name is Philip, and I'm back with some more videos because I wanted to continue to talk about building in public, even though I'm kind of struggling with keeping up reporting on the progress of my fun game. Just because, because living in capitalism, we need to eat, and I also have to do something for a day job. With a friend of mine, I'm actually looking into creating a company and building, on the one hand, kind of financing ourselves doing freelance work, hopefully with interesting projects, but on the other hand, developing our own digital products, kind of going along the indie hackers vibe of being self-funded. And I thought, why not, talk about what we are doing in product ideation, how to evaluate it, and so on, because right now we are kind of looking for a really cool idea we can kind of get started to build. For this, I actually wrote like a blog post, but I think it's interesting to also talk about. And we're looking right now at 4 ideas I described here. One is building this one up here. It's kind of building an agentic knowledge base. It's called. It's the AI hype everywhere, but the idea of having knowledge bases. I'm really fascinated with knowledge graphs, knowledge bases, and so on, and how to make them better. Because as software engineers, we know kind of documentation always gets old, it gets outdated, but at the same time, it's also really important for software engineering in the sense of that if agents, for example, also understand source code, what is left is kind of understanding why something was written, and this is often in the documentation. So here the idea is we want to build a tool that understands documentation deeply, finds issues across multiple pages, contradictions, and so on, and in the first step kind of presents these contradictions so people can fix their documentation. But later on, maybe something like an agentic system that reaches out by itself and talks to experts and kind of resolves those contradictions. This is really interesting, but like a big problem to solve, I feel. Another thing we're looking at is doing some competitor intelligence for small companies. This is actually inspired by a blog post by Justin Duke. So he does Button Down, which is a newsletter that powers the newsletter for my blog, for example, as well. And a really cool person in the indie hacker community, I feel, to follow because he seems to have a very well-run company that aligns with a lot of these values of having small teams, being proud of what you work on, and stuff like this. And he wrote recently that if he wasn't doing that, he might look into doing competitor intelligence because it's kind of interesting. You can't really pay for a good report on your competitors' pricing changes or something like this. So for this, we looked at the market. There are a lot of AI companies that just kind of pass the pages of competitors and do an LLM generated report. But with our background in kind of software engineering, we are looking more at getting the data in a predictable way and then building dashboards, kind of Grafana for your competitors, where you have a ground truth of real data and kind of see comparisons based on really quantitative data like pricing. Then the third thing we're looking at, which I also think is really cool, is the idea of this digital sovereignty and hosting a competitor or an alternative to Google Docs. There's a big open source project by the French and German government called La Suite. It's really good. We have tested it a bit privately and hosted an instance for ourselves and comes close to the usability of Google Docs. And we are exploring a way to kind of make this available to smaller companies to just pay for directly. And then lastly, we say this is the odd one out, but it's kind of fascination for us, is building something like a treasure hunt, digital treasure hunt for going out to cities. If you visit a city with a small group of people or your spouse or something like this, instead of booking a free walking tour, which we also really enjoy, just have a treasure hunt on your mobile phone. This is really well done, hopefully. And then explore the city that way by solving some puzzles, learning about the history, and so on. I think this will be a hard project because it's business to customer. It's really hard to advertise. But it's also a field which probably there will be a lot of LLM and AI generated kind of slop products in the future that are really bad. And we hope we can just build something that is just really good software, really good treasure hunts and so on, and kind of make it interesting that way. So these are the things we are looking at right now. Like I said, we are also, freelancing quite a bit, so we can pay the bills. But I will hopefully take you along, do some more videos about our projects, how they come along, and so on. And also in the sense of, not wanting to sell anything or advertise in any form, because I know this is not, the audience of who would watch this video doesn't really match the one that would buy these products. So just for fun. So I would love to hear if you have built in this space, if you have any idea about competitors in this space, just cool ideas for these products, or you have a tip for us, which product to focus on. I would in general love to hear all of these things. So let me know and see you around.